Hey everybody, welcome back to Hard4Games. Oh my goodness, we have somebody else in frame other than me. Thank God. I know you all are probably very sick of seeing my face because I am.
Yeah.
So,
and as all of you suspected, it was because we all hate each other behind the scenes and not a gigantic pandemic or anything like
nothing
that.
to do with that, thank goodness. So, John kept messaging me all of these bootleg Game Boy Advance games that Retrotaku has been finding.
Yeah, everybody's been doing spring cleaning in the area, and like almost no stores were taking anything in. We were the whole time, but everybody just assumed, like Disc Replay and GameStop especially were very careful on how they were doing stuff.
Yeah.
But we were just like, yeah, we'll take it in, we'll wear our protective gear while we assess it, and then we would leave it in a bin for a week. And then as we started going through, like people would come in with just like, after everybody was starting to do trades again, like one woman came in with just a sack of GBA games.
Oh,
and
I was
as I was
say,
like,
keep it PG.
just flipping. Why does that one feel weird? Shrek 2? So I opened it, and Shrek 2 was a fake. I was like, who fakes Shrek 2?
So normally, when you're on eBay, you have to be careful of certain
high
value items that might be
Ninja
faked.
5.0.
A lot of Pokemon games.
Pokemon especially.
Very common because, Pokemon games, the cartridge may range. It might be $20, it might be $40, it might be $50, it might be above that amount, but a lot of people want them, so it makes sense to bootleg them,
Yeah, bootlegging Shantae is like, a common pastime.
But Shrek 2.
Yeah, Shrek 2.
Shrek 2. And I get it. You love Shrek enough that you want to share it at a low cost.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, stepping back into reality, what? So we're going to be showcasing a handful of bootlegged, low-value GBA games today.
Yeah, and one of them, and this was the real shocker because I was trying to figure out when these came from, and then I realized I only really owned one GBA game from back in the day. I found it at Detroit Metro Airport in about 2005, and I found it just jammed underneath a seat in a waiting area at the terminal. I go, huh. It was like covered in dust, so I was like, okay, somebody lost this weeks ago. There's no way I could ever find the owner. I'll just use it to cover the dust port on my DS. And so I went home after finding all of those, and I picked it up, and I turned it around, and I realized it was a fake too. So somebody was faking these back then.
Yeah.
It's insane.
So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this weird world of ultra low value license title bootlegs.
When I say Finding Nemo, I think I better save 3 cents on Finding Nemo. So, like I said, a woman came in with just a bag full of games to trade in. And it was this one and this one in particular that had piqued my interest. Because while you can see that, looks like a passable cover, and that also looks like a passable cover, but she came in with it's like 6 copies of Finding Nemo and like 3 copies of Shrek. But these labels were different designs. And so I was like, huh. No one would fake these, right? Oh, interesting. There's a sticker on the back. Not a sticker on the back of that one, though. So I figured, well, I'll just pop them open. Look at the boards. And the boards were different. And the plastic feels different. And it's misaligned. And if you want to get a real juicy zoom in back here, I'm going to show you something very entertaining that you'll notice on some of these. It actually says Nintendo. One thing you'll notice with a lot of these cartridges is when you'll put them into a system, they don't fit very well. There's also, you'll notice a lot of gap inconsistencies on the edge along here. And you'll notice that the actual logo up along here, the little embossed Game Boy Advance, is incredibly inconsistent coloring. as is the case here with Disney Princess. The label is askew, or sometimes, as you'll see over here on Star Wars, that the scaling is kind of weird and wrong, or as you'll look at this one, literally everything is wrong. Just look at that. It's beautiful. It belongs in a museum. You'll also notice these like don't open stickers, and that's like just guaranteed. If you see that, it's fake. But let's open some of these, eh? And you'll see, it's like some Sharpie on the back. It's weird. But you'll see like this big glob, and there's no Nintendo, there's no board revision, there's no markings identifying who made this at all. It's just like, this is textbook, like fake. But let's compare this to, say, this board, which Tony had. For, what is this? Sigma Star?
Mm-hmm. Sigma Star Saga.
So that comes out. There was no sticker seal on there. Nintendo's spelled correctly. Often they'll get the font on the N wrong. It should have the two parts that are vertical, thick, and a thin slant between. That's how the font works on it. All right, and you'll notice that there's only the one clip per side instead of two clips per side for the slide in, slide out. And you'll notice on the official ones, it's very smooth slide and a smooth lift. Whereas on these, it is much more of like a, and then it pops out. And you'll now notice the boards between these two. Now the sizes isn't a huge thing. There are larger GBA boards, but you're going to always notice like copyright 2001, Nintendo, like a serial number that's on there. Like, that's just common. Another common thing you'll notice on legit boards is look at how many identifying marks are on each individual chip. Because when you buy chips from actual, legitimate resellers, for Nintendo, if this chip was having issues, they want to be able to be like, oh, okay, it was this chip from this supplier, this lot number. Okay, we'll contact them and we'll get our money back. Whereas these, have nothing but like this weird chalk mark on it. Yeah, not exactly a professional job, that. So you'll notice on this, it's got that little triangle to point which way you're supposed to put it in. Now look at this. It's got a triangle and like a chevron on the outside of it. Close, but not quite. And then along here, you see the nice Game Boy Advance logo with almost that like embossed like perimeter around it. And then over here, you just see this like big just divot that they put it in. And they tried to get the font right. But really, when you look at them next to each other, it's not right. And notice how it just looks different. Trust me when I tell you, as soon as you feel this one in person, it feels like it's made out of paper mache. It is awful. There are better fakes than this. This is easily one of the worst fakes I've ever seen in my life. In fact, why don't we try opening this one? Now you see this don't open SIN 007 on there. Or it says P007. Kind of, came off a bit. Now, real Nintendo cartridges never have that. Never have that. They're just trying to go like, oh, it's a warranty seal. You definitely shouldn't open this one. It's too special. But you know what? I laugh in the face of that. Oh yeah, look, it's even the void sticker.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is Phillips head. Tony, we're gonna have to get a Phillips head. That's extra, not legit if it's a Phillips head instead of a tri-wing.
They're trying to hide the Phillips head.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, once again, you'll see it's the single clip that's on there. And yeah, there's actually some stuff on here showing us. Oh, looks like this must have gotten wet at one point. But you'll see a glob, some weird chips, an aftermarket battery that's on there, which on common, games now, it's not too crazy to see something like that. You buy a Pokemon game, it's got one of these on it. It just means somebody swapped it, but you can see kind of globby solder. Ooh, there's like some corrosion or something on there. But yeah, overall, you'll notice, once again, it doesn't say Nintendo anywhere, and guess what Nintendo would prefer your games say on them? Nintendo. But yeah, the overall, like, this plastic just feels weird and cheap in the hands. It feels like it's a completely different weight. You'll also notice that most of the screws I've been pulling out have been silver, and this one is black. So that's another sign. I mean, that it was a Phillips head should be enough, but yeah, so there's that one. So another common thing, you'll notice this was the much nicer done sticker. It was still misaligned. Otherwise, this cartridge seems to be pretty good. The logo is not quite right for Game Boy Advance up here, but they always have this code here, and that's for the actual game. And so if I click search, apparently that's for Eye of the Beholder? Yeah. AGB AD4E-USA is for Eye of the Beholder, but it looks like somebody else had a similar fake with it on there. So turns out that is technically the correct code for it. However, the real Shrek 2 cover doesn't have like this slanted Shrek 2 in there. Overall, this is actually a pretty good design, but it isn't the correct one. Oh, this is another one that technically says Nintendo on the back of it. But let's open that boy up. In a lot of GBA games, there actually wasn't battery-backed memory. Often the batteries were just for clocks. However, for bootlegs, they don't want to spring for that fancy chip. So they're like, screw it, we'll just do battery-backed memories. Batteries aren't very much, so they do this. But just like, look at it. It's gross. It's got like weird greasy marks and stuff on it. You can tell this thing was made fast and cheap.
Well, those were a bunch of bootleg, ultra low value licensed crap. You were postulating that at the time, I mean, those licensed games were still worth something, and
yeah. I mean, I think 2005, 2006. I think what was happening was that's right when like parents are starting to really understand like, hey, I can buy shit on Amazon for my kid.
Yeah.
I can just buy it used on Amazon. And I'm sure what was happening was people were selling these used on Amazon or eBay for like a real nice price where they're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, for $5, yeah, I can get them this Shrek game, and then they'll shut up when I'm driving in the car. Awesome. Yeah. I don't have to listen to, what's a 2005 movie? Well, Shrek, like 10 more times.
Yeah, Shrek, yeah.
Because like, that's the hell of owning a minivan in that period that had a DVD player. You're just going to have that one DVD. You're going to just have to keep hearing and hearing and hearing.
I think when we think about bootlegs nowadays, again, we had mentioned Pokemon because it's a higher value item.
Yeah, because you can make those for like $5, sell them for $40.
Yeah, so it's like we think about that and we're always wary of those types of scams because those are like, I feel like more contemporary bootlegs.
Yeah.
Whereas like these were probably like at the time of those games actually being in stores, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
or like nearby, like
they'll be like, hey kid, you wanted that game from GameStop, and it's $60 new, but used it's only 10.
Yeah.
And they were probably making it for $2. I did not realize there was a secret Shrek bootleg scene.
Yes, but apparently there was for all of these, like Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, like all of just kicking them out.
Yeah, 2005, like we were so busy, absolutely convinced that Iraq was going to secretly nuke us, that we were not caring about the secret enemy of 2005. Shrek 2 bootlegs.
I think we'll leave you with that. We'll see y'all next time.
Yeah.